Some folks call me Jeni, and in Second Life I've gone by Jen. I have a couple of different avatars. This is my human avatar, and I have recently become a tiger cub, little purple tiger cub, so a tiny. There's all kinds of great things that you can do in virtual worlds, and you can be anything and anybody you want. So it's exciting area to be in. I actually am a corporate records manager for Security Benefit, a fairly large insurance and annuities company in Topeka, Kansas. I am a recent graduate of the Master's Library in Information Science from San Jose State University. So I graduated last May, and I'm basically going to share with you some of the experiences that I've had in VCARA and in Second Life as a whole that I actually used to share those experiences in an interview, in a job interview, and that's how I'm at Security Benefit now. Some of the versatility that you can do in a virtual world as far as education and learning opportunities actually impressed my employers. So it was a win-win for me. And I've actually been in VCARA and Second Life for about 3 years now, and it started out with Lori Bell's Renaissance class, and I fell in love with virtual world education and just the immersive learning environment. One of the first big projects that I actually did was also under Lori's tutelage, and it was an advanced immersive learning project course where Snow Scarman and I, Chris Nelson, we worked together with several other students to basically decide how to create an environment where we could encourage students and educators to come and relax. We could have events, and we could basically host a plethora of different topics in a set location. It ended up that the group decided to create a coffee shop environment, and we did such things as a grand opening ceremony. There was quite a bit of planning that went into building out the coffee shop and actually running an actual, I guess it would be a business inside of a virtual world. And we discovered that all the stuff that you do in order to run a business outside of a virtual world is very similar to what you do inside of a virtual world. You have to do marketing, you have to figure out where's the best location, you have to be able to plan the events, communicate the events, and as most of us know from being in Second Life and planning events over the years, it can be quite a bit of work, and it's great to have partners throughout VCARA and immersive learning in order to make those contacts and make sure that folks know what's going on in your particular venue. So this was a picture of our first grand opening event at the coffee shop, and then this is just, you know, sitting back, relaxing after we had done a lot of work to decorate and decide how we wanted the look and the feel. We had some games interaction, we had some events, we had a huge Halloween masquerade party, and so that was a lot of fun for all the decorating with that. We went through a lot of renditions until we landed on what we really decided was the best use of the space at the time. And we had a pretty good turnout for the event, and we actually ended up having a couple of other events before we ended up moving the coffee shop because we felt like we wanted to have a little bit larger footprint for the coffee shop itself. And so in the next semester, we ended up moving the coffee shop and rebranding it a little bit. So the Love a Coffee Shop is still in between the Dome and what we call now the VCARA Village. But VCARA Village is where we are now hosting locations for our students who volunteer and the faculty who volunteer in VCARA to be able to live and decorate however they want. They've got homes that they can choose or offices. And it all started out, though, as a Boston build because several students wanted to get together. And again, we took a course where we actually helped Dr. Bell or Lori Bell plan the curriculum for a course in our 1776 colonial period. And we were planning all kinds of activities that we wanted to do. We built out the entire environment. It kind of started out just as a blank slate, and we built on slowly. We used that floor map that I showed you just a little bit ago, and we built a big Boston Harbor area where we had a ship and we had a fort, and we were going to reenact the Boston Tea Party. We're going to reenact the crossing of the Delaware, the writing of the independence of like the July 4th, I guess, the Independence Day. And some of the other things that we did as part of the Boston build was actually learn how to build homes. So we tried to stick with, colonial style homes, smaller homes, kind of a variety of different styles of homes. And Snow Scarman again was just a gem, and she taught a lot of us how to do the building, and then we took it from there. She was always around to help us with, tweaking things, having great ideas, and it was always great to get together with the group because we did do a lot of planning. And we did things like also learn how to make dresses that would be in a colonial period, because obviously there's lots of clothing that you can purchase in Marketplace, and there's lots of places throughout Second Life where you can go and shop, but you can't always find exactly what you want whenever it's a period that you're trying to target on. So having skills like building homes or creating clothing is absolutely a wonderful thing that you can learn in a virtual world to help build whatever platform you're trying to focus on. So as part of our transition went along, we also had to plan events like this was SJSU Rocks the Revolution. So this was actually kind of our open house to try to introduce the Boston build, and we had a guest speaker. This was in the back of the new coffee shop, and we basically tried to take folks through a walking tour of our Boston build when it was completed, and talk a little bit about what our plans were for curriculum. And ultimately, we had a pretty decent turnout even for the open house, and then I guess we didn't end up getting enough students for the course. We were close, but not quite enough, and so the course never did happen. But the land and the parcel and most of the buildings that we created are still over there. We've just done a little bit of tweaking as time has gone by. Because of the fact that it was an open space, we decided once we came into VCARA, and this is when I became a member of the internship program and became the intern last semester for the VCARA area, we decided to let's use that space. And that's when we did invite students and instructors to take the homes and make them their own. And so now we've added some shopping over there that's free to the students and the members of VCARA, and they are able to get clothing and furnishings for their homes, and all kinds of little knickknacks and doodads, and Snow has got a wealth of items that are free. She's just a super shopper, and it's just a really great area to come for students, especially if you're a new student, to have a place that you can call home and change your avatar's outfits and experiment with moving things and be able to do all those little quirky things that you have to learn over time in virtual worlds when you're new to them. So this was the conference that I actually helped plan with several students. It was really quite the effort by several students and Dr. Franks, and we were able to have several guest speakers, two primary speakers, as well as I think it was like 6 or 8 mini presentations. But it was a great evening. We had a sci-fi theme, and it took several months for us to plan and get our speakers and pull it all together, but it was well worth it. It was a lot of great information and a really good evening for all of us to join and just learn from one another. So I enjoyed participating in VCARA, participating in the internship, and then sharing these experiences that were just really invaluable. And, you know, as I was sitting back and having this interview, you know, it dawned on me how much I had learned over the 3 years of being in VCARA, and how many unique opportunities I had at my disposal as a distance student, just because I was in a virtual environment. It was just fantastic to me that, you know, I learned how to build, that I learned how to plan a business, that I learned how to do marketing. I learned so much more about social media. You know, I learned how to do some of the streaming things that you have to do, giving presentations in a virtual world. There were just so many things that I was able to contribute whenever I sat down in that interview and shared with them such a world as a virtual immersive environment. And, you know, I can't stress enough how being part of this type of an environment gives you a broader knowledge, and it really helps you with technology. And in this day and age, we all know that technology is first and foremost on many companies' minds. And so me being able to take that to an interview table really was kind of a push in the direction of hiring me for their next corporate records manager. And you know, I'd actually been in corporate records for about 18 years at that point, but in lower capacity positions like coordinator, analyst. And so this was really my first opportunity for a pretty good promotion. And it allowed me to come back home where family and friends were. So it was just a really big win-win for me. And I really owe a lot of that to being in VCARA and being in Second Life. So I appreciate your time, and thank you, and I hope you have a great evening.